Alrighty boys, welcome back to the channel. Guess what we get to work on today? That right there, that is a 5.7 liter interceptor HEMI.
A HEMI. Balls to the wall.
What we got here is a 2000 and I believe it's a 12. I haven't checked it in yet, so I don't know any information on it. Dodge Charger. Used to be an old police car. All right, it is HEMI time. Okay, so got her in here. So I'm gonna very quickly kind of give you a brief synopsis of what's going on with it, and it's very messed up. It is a 2013. I just checked the VIN. The guy took it to a shop to have the cam and lifters replaced because it had the typical 5.7 lifter issue. Froze up, wiped the cam out. So he went and had a new cam put in, new lifters, new push rods. It took the shop 3 months, uno, dos, tres months to get this thing done. And then he gets it back. It's overheating severely. There's a geyser. Old Faithful is coming out of the overflow right there. He sent me a video of it. I have yet to get it that hot. I don't want to take a chance of damaging something else. To sum it up, took it to a shop, took 3 months, and it's incorrect. The plan is right now, take the heads off, give it a good inspection, send the heads off to be machined and checked, and we'll put it back together. 3 months, and it's wrong. So curiosity is killing me because, I mean, the only thing I can think of is head gasket. I mean, I don't know what this shop, well, if you use that term loosely, shop, did to mess this up. All right, so coolant is draining and the intake is pulled. The first thing I noticed after I pulled the intake was the intake and the tops of the heads here are drenched of oil. And also, when I pulled it in here, it only ran for a few, probably maybe a minute tops, and there was already a bunch of pressure when I took the cap off. So we definitely have a problem in this region right here. But we'll find it eventually. I'm gonna probably call it a night. My future race car driver is in watching Bluey, and I'm gonna go in and watch him for a little bit because my wife needs a break. So we will continue tomorrow and get closer and closer to finding the problem.
The next day.
All right, welcome back. It is day 2, and I was watching the videos that I recorded yesterday, the clips you just watched, and I wanted to elaborate on something because I really didn't explain it very well. The whole oil in the intake situation. Now, with this is a high mileage motor. I mean, it's got 205,000 miles on it, I believe, and it was a cop car. So, like, I guess it wouldn't be unusual for a little more oil to be in the intake because of maybe some blow-by, extra pressure in the crankcase, it blew up in the intake. But the reason why I was confused on why there was so much oil in the intake is because this engine was just a part. I would have figured he would have cleaned the intake up a little bit, or I don't really know. Like I said, the shop that did this wasn't the greatest from what I've been hearing. All right, so quite a few things just evolved. Nothing major with the car, but that van showed up. That's the Sienna that you've seen in the last video. That's got 430,000 miles on it. The starter went out on it, so they had it towed here. So valve cover is off, exhaust is off. I got a few small things on the back of the head I got to take loose, and then we're gonna pull this side head and then start working on that side. The full exhaust is off, if you can see back there. So yeah, here in the next, I would say 15-20 minutes, we're gonna have at least the right side head off. All right, so I have been distracted by many things tonight, and it's really set me a little far behind schedule. The right side valve train is all off. I'm getting ready to crack the head bolts loose on the right side here, pull the head off, and see if this side has a problem. All right, see if I can hang on to my phone with these nasty gloves on. Oily. So head bolts are out, we're getting ready to pull the head. Something I did notice, but I'm not saying this was the problem or has anything to do with the problem, but as I was loosening the head bolts, the rear head bolts, as they came forward, so like the rear to the front, the rear were a lot tighter than the front ones. So it seems like they got looser as we went forward. Not saying that has anything to do with the problem, I just noticed that it did take a lot more effort to get the rear out. Okay, pulled the head, as you've just seen. Spilled a lot of coolant. After I stopped the video, the clip you just seen, I went ahead and took the time and soaked up all the coolant that was in the cylinders, because it filled when I pulled the head, it filled the cylinders full of coolant. Didn't want that to cause any issue in the cylinder. So nothing like blatantly obvious, like holy crap, this was the problem. A lot of flaking on like all the black. It's coming off on my fingers. I'm going to assume that when they put this back together, they didn't have the machine, or the heads machined. Hang on, folks, I think we made a discovery. So I took some carburetor cleaner, because I was looking close. I'm like, something doesn't look right on the head. So let me flip you around and show you something. These heads did not go to a machine shop. I'm not sure how well you can see it on film here, but I cleaned up this part of the head right here. You see all those markings? Like all these markings that are going different direction? I'm guessing they just cleaned this up with a whiz wheel and shipped it. That is not machine shop. There's no way a machine shop did this. The camera on the phone doesn't do it justice. See if I can get a little closer. So you see that? That is not machine shop. So these heads did not go to the machine shop before they installed the new gaskets.
The next day.
Okay, welcome back. It is day 3 of working on the Charger. It feels like day 700, not because of working on the Hemi here, just all the other shop work. Another thing we gotta do tonight is we gotta get that other side head off so we can take it to the machine shop tomorrow. Gonna get the heads off, or the head, and get the heads to the machine shop. So left side, pull the coil packs, pull the valve cover, pull the valve train, push rods, and then head bolts. So yeah, should have this head off here shortly. And maybe I can go to bed a little earlier tonight. Baby child, future race car driver, is teething, so it's been a little rough. Kind of give you a rundown real quick. Coil packs are 10 millimeters. Valve cover is 8 millimeter. Sir, shh. Valve train, 10 millimeter. 10 millimeter upper head bolts. And then the head bolts themselves are, I believe, I forgot, are 15 millimeter. Very simple, very easy. Just remember, always make sure everything goes back where it belongs. So keep your push rods and everything right where it needs to be. Head bolts are out. It's got 10 head bolts. I'm saying this on camera. 10 head bolts, 4 were not tight. 4 head bolts were not tight. Now they weren't finger loose, but they were not to head bolt torque tight. So we're ready to pull the head. Get ready to drop antifreeze all over my floor. Oh, nice. Boys, I believe appalled is the word. I am very appalled at the findings of this. I did verify the gaskets, so there is a left and right gasket, do different part numbers. They did have the gaskets on correct, that's good. But, like I said, 4 of the 10 head bolts were not torqued, or not as tight as they should have been. They were still tight, but definitely not head bolt tight. The left head looks worse than the right head. Let me show you the homemade machining they did. Brah, check this out. Oh, look at that. It's like straight up sandpaper. So, 200,000 mile cop car engine. Lifter tick, took it apart, and this is how they tried to put it back together after 200,000 miles. I'll show you the head components right quick. So, valve covers, obviously. Coil packs, obviously. Left side valve train, left side top, left side bottom, right side top, right side bottom. Super easy, very simple engine. If you don't know this, if you've ever taken apart an engine or you plan on it, make sure camshafts, push rods always stick upright and in order. Everything that you see here has to go back where it came from. That is very, very important. Now that both heads are off and I had a chance to give everything a good inspection, look at the heads, look at the block, I think the problem was obvious. It looks like they gave the Tasmanian Devil 60 grit sandpaper a drill and he tried to resurface the heads. I don't know, guys. Like, I feel like I'm not the most experienced mechanic, but what's going on nowadays in shops? Block wise, I'm probably gonna wait until the heads come back from the machine shop to clean the block up. Or I'm gonna blow the antifreeze out of the coolant passages as best I can, and then I'll probably put a light layer WD-40 on the cylinder walls just to prevent any rustation. And obviously I will seal her up the best I can before I shove her outside, so that way nothing, no animals or any other unwanted things can climb inside of the engine. Okay, so both heads are stripped and prepped and ready to go to the machine shop for the proper resurfacing. I don't know where this video is gonna go from tonight. Like, I don't know where it's gonna go from here. Tomorrow, like I said, I'm gonna take the heads to the machine shop, and I don't know when I'm gonna get them back. This is going outside in the meantime because the shop is super busy. So with that said, I will see you sometime in the future. All right, I want to give you guys a quick update. Yesterday, I dropped the heads off the machine shop. That was Thursday. Today is now Friday. I was talking to the guys in the machine shop. They did a quick check. The heads will need quite a bit taken off in order to get them flat, but he thinks they're still going to be in spec to be okay, so we don't have to worry about buying new heads. But in the meantime, I got other things to do, so I prepped the block as best I could, put some WD in the cylinders just so we don't have any rust problems. Got her all tucked in, and we are going to wait until we get the heads back. Hopefully, I'm hoping mid next week, but we'll see. And then I'm gonna have to call my brother and my father down to push the old beast back in the shop. So I will see you in about a week or so.
It's been 84 years.
All right, so welcome back. It's been about a week and a half. I picked up the heads from the machine shop. Today is Monday, if you were wondering. Today is Monday. Picked the heads up at the machine shop on Friday, and they look fabulous. Ooh, brothers, check these out. These things look absolutely fantastic. And the words of the machine shop, he said these heads were extremely effed up. He had them for a week or just over a week. And basically complete rebuild of the heads. New valves, new valve guides, new valve seals, even new valves. So like everything on this head is basically brand new besides springs and retainers. And then the best part, check this out. That, my friends, is how a head is supposed to look before you reinstall it. Not the whiz wheel BS that we had earlier. Boys, we have a lot of work to do to get this block cleaned up. I already started on the right side, and where they took the grinder and tried to clean up the block from the last time they installed the head gaskets, or when they had it apart, you know, a couple miles ago. There's a lot of imperfections, a lot of gouges, a lot of deep grooves. I really wasn't intending to spend this much time on the block, but we do what you got to do. I got to look up the spec for flatness, see what's in spec, but it's nice and shiny. Started out with 400 grit, 600 grit, 1,000, and then 1,500. It's nice and shiny. It's basically, the block is like a mirror now. So we're gonna keep plucking along on that. I'm probably gonna call it a night just because it's been a long night. The shop has been kicking. It's late. So we're probably gonna get some more supplies tomorrow, and we'll continue.
The next day.
Okay, welcome back. Getting a very late start because my father's truck is having issues again. Show you the right side real quick. Cleaned up very nicely, nice and flat, nice and shiny. Left side, again, just like the right side, gonna take some serious elbow grease, a lot of sandpaper. Basically, like I said, I'm doing 4, 6, 1,000 and ending to get that shine with 1,500 grit. So burning through a lot of sandpaper. I'll show you a before, and then give me about, 17 hours, and I'll show you the after. And there we go, all done, nice and shiny, nice and clean, nice and flat. There are a lot of, on both sides, I mentioned this earlier, there are a lot of deep cuts and deep scrapes from where they had the heads off before, but I don't think it's gonna cause any issue. I have 3 straight edges that I use, this one being the final. This is a brand new straight edge. I was able, on both sides, I measured across the cylinders, vertical with the cylinders, and diagonal with the cylinders, and across all the cooling jackets. And I was not able to fit a 2,000 feeler gauge in there. So I think I'm happy with that. I think I'm gonna call it. We're gonna go ahead and start really deep cleaning everything, clean the lifters out, make sure there's no debris in the cylinders and the cooling jackets. That way when we reinstall everything, we don't have any issues. Specification is of, I think, 3 to 4 thousandths. I was unable to get a 2 thousandths feeler gauge in there, so I'm happy with that. The cylinder or the block looks fantastic, nice and shiny. Alrighty, so fast forward about an hour. I am finally done-ish cleaning. I filled each head bolt hole full of brake clean, then used compressed air to blow everything out, wipe down the cylinders, wipe down the block, everything that I could. I will do another wipe down tomorrow when I put the heads on. Took an old head bolt, got it nice and clean, cleaned all the threads out, and by hand ran the head bolt down into each, 20 head bolt holes to make sure there was no catches, no imperfections in the threads. So I'm gonna go in and get some dinner. It is almost 8 o'clock. I went from work right to the shop, the mom and dad's shop, to look at dad's truck, and then went straight into here. So I am whooped, I'm tired, I'm gonna get some food, and I will see you tomorrow.
The next day.
All right, we're gonna get some heads on tonight. Hemis do have 2 different types of head gasket, or 2 different sides of head gasket. So I am making sure that I'm putting the right one on the right side and the left one on the left side. The right one on the, you know what I mean. The right one, the correct one on the left side and the correct one on the right side. I'm getting this on camera. This is the left head gasket. It's got the L on it. That stands for left. Right side is already on. So we're gonna throw the head gaskets on, throw the heads on, and then we're gonna put some head bolts in. We're getting ready to install the new head bolts with ARP fastener lube. We're gonna get at least the left one torqued down, and then we're gonna move to the right one. All right, moving right along. All the head bolts are in. It does take, believe it or not, it does take me a while to put head bolts in because I lube them up, run them all down by hand, then back them off, and then run them all down by hand again. All the head bolts are in. I printed off all the specs and laminated them. So main head bolts are done. I just did the final pass of 90 degrees. No questions whatsoever on those. All 10 of those felt absolutely great. Now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys this here torque wrench and show you we're at 15 foot-pounds. We're gonna go to 25 foot-pounds. 29, what the frick? 25.0 FTLB, foot-pounds. Right here, final pass. 25 FT libas. We're at 20, 22, starting to get some dinging. 3, 4, right there. Woo! I hate little head bolts, like the little M8 ones. We're gonna install the right head now. Throw them head bolts in. Look what we got here. We got heads on a Hemi. Both heads are nice. Well, they are torqued to spec, which you see in my spec sheet back here, all laminated and pretty. Usually on Subarus, I get nervous, and you've seen the previous videos why I get nervous when I do head bolts. This going into a cast iron boat anchor of the block, steel block, everything felt really good. So everything was clean, everything was lubricated, everything torqued very nicely. We're gonna call it a night. I am whooped, I am tired. Before I came here, again, day 2 of going and looking at my dad's truck, changing parts on that. We're gonna do it again tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Hopefully we can at least get the intake or the valve train on and keep on going.
The next day.
All right, we are back again. I am getting started a little earlier today, not intentionally. My father called me around noon and said his truck was acting up again. So I ran into town and grabbed some parts for that, threw them on, and basically if this doesn't fix it, then I'm gonna have to pull the tranny back and replace the clutch actuator, which is technically the throw-out bearing for a car. So it's been just under 24 hours, and I went ahead and did a peace of mind check. I went over each head bolt again, not like I'm not trying to make it tighter, torque it anymore, just a peace of mind, just a little He did ask me while the intake was off to replace the MDS solenoid, so I'm going to do that. And I got to find an O-ring for both of these coolant lines that come out of the firewall for the heater core. So we got to change my order of putting togetherness. I was going to install, well, he was going to have me put on some Go Fast parts, but the problem is the bolts to hold those Go Fast parts on are too long. So I got to get bolts. All right, so left side is done. I have to, well, not technically done. I have to torque all of the bolts down. I just snugged them up. Just a reminder, I'm sure most of you watching this have built engines before, but make sure before you go and tighten everything down that all your push rods are seated correctly, all your rocker arms are seated correctly on top of the valve, not offset a little bit. Make sure they are square on top, and then you can tighten everything down. It is, like I said, very important to make sure that your push rods are seated before you go and turn this engine over. Otherwise, we could have problems. The only thing I don't like about push rod engines is I cannot see like where the push rod goes into the lifter. Another thing too, this is a HEMI thing, just something to watch out for. Stuff that I find, I like to, tell people in my videos because it can make your life easier, help you guys out. Let me flip you around real quick. So on your rocker arm assembly, the bolts that hold the rocker bar, I guess per se, down, show you this real quick. So you see that little tab right here? You see them little tabs? Maybe if I can focus right there, the little tabs that are bent. Make sure when you put these back in that tab, both of them tabs are bent parallel with the bolt. That way this metal piece here that's sticking out will go all the way in and seat correctly in that hole. I didn't know that these had tabs, and I was messing around. I'm like, when I was putting this back together after cleaning, I'm like, why isn't that not sitting, flush, sitting good? So I pull it out, them tabs are bent. Make sure I just took a pair of needle nose, bend them back. That way everything sits flush. This little half moon here sits flush with the bar. Valve train is on and tight. Double and triple check the push rod, rocker arms, everything. And then you see me a few seconds ago, I rotated this thing over probably at least 10 times. I watched each valve spring go down, each push rod come up. So we should be good. Tomorrow I'm gonna grab those bolts for the Go Fast parts that I can't mention on film. And then, yeah, I think a few more hours and she'll be roaring. Okay, so fast forward, I believe, 6 days, give or take a day or two. We made it back from our vacation, had a blast. The Spartan race went fantastic. West Virginia, you got some serious hills over there. We are gonna get back on the HEMI. So last night I did kind of tinker a little bit. I started to get the MDS solenoids out, but they're all breaking in the block, so that's a lot of other challenge. And last night about 7:30, I got a call from a guy at Hall's Campers. Said, hey, I got a fuel leak, can you check it out? And I'm like, sure, yeah. So he come up my driveway and I took care of him last night. So tonight, all hands go on deck for the HEMIs. Okay, sorry I haven't given an update in a while. It is now dark, it's time for bed. I have been fighting for the last 3.5 hours to get these stupid manifolds on. Several reasons. They're headers, I'll be honest with you. And I'm guessing they're Chinese or whatever, not the highest quality brand of headers. And the bolt holes do not line up with the heads. And the biggest reason is, hang on, I'll show you. And the biggest reason is these here freaking gaskets, the OEM gaskets. Yeah, that little like 45 right there. Yeah, that is a freaking razor blade on your wrist, arm, whatever else. So yeah, I guess we're gonna call it a night there because I am bleeding in several spots on my arm, my fingers. I'm going to go in and get a shower, and basically to the guys, or who at Stellantis, who at Chrysler thought that was a good idea, I'm going to continue tomorrow, and to the engineers at Stellantis, you can go shove it up your ass. And we're back. It's a very hot Friday evening. I got off of work a little early, and we're going to get this dang thing done tonight. First thing, before I put the spark plugs in, I'm going to take my little button, hook it up to the starter, and roll this thing over and make sure we're getting oil up to the heads, make sure oil is primed, that way I don't start her dry. So there, my door's falling down. We're gonna get this thing done tonight because I have a very, very busy weekend. I'm getting my hair cut because I look like a homeless person, but I also have to pull a transmission out of a Volvo truck. So an I-shift transmission, my dad's tranny's got to come out again. All right, looks like everything is clear, belts out of the way, should be good. All right, let's do some priming. Didn't sound the greatest. I wasn't on the best power wire. So I repositioned my power wire, so I should have a little more juice now. I'm gonna continue rolling it over until I see some natural oil come up. I am gonna check the oil again, make sure everything's good, top it off. We got oil now, so at least we have oil coming to the top end. So now when I start it up for the first time, it will, oh, spilled a little bit right there. It will not be dry, so we're good. I think what I'm gonna do now is just do a final once over of everything because I'm paranoid and anal about what I work on. So we're gonna check everything out and then throw the valve covers on, throw the intake on, and we shall fire her up. Here we go, all put back together. Got some water in it. I'm putting straight water in it for now, just until I know there's no leaks, and then I'll drain it real quick while it's on the lift and put coolant in it. There we go, I'm gonna fire her up for the first time. This thing is going to be freaking loud because it is open header because it has no exhaust on it because he is going to have a custom exhaust done. All right, live action. Here we go. Everything should be good. Let's hit the button. Okay, let it run for about 10 seconds and shut her off just to come out and do a quick visual. Make sure I'm not leaking any fuel right here from where I put the gas line on. To recheck the oil, I am leaking a little bit of water because my funnel is not sealing here properly. I may just have to do it the old school way and dump it in as we need it. But other than that, I'm gonna check the oil and fire her back up and let it run for a little bit. It's been running for a while. I think I got a thermostat problem because everything was good, running constant about 195, 200. Hot heat, air bubbles were worked out, but it randomly, it didn't overheat at all. It stayed about 200, but the water was starting to come up in the funnel, and the upper radiator hose right here is empty. And every time, basically, when the temp comes up where the thermostat needs to open, it does not open, I believe. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna quit messing with it tonight. I got to get up early tomorrow. So I'm gonna grab a thermostat. So cap is on. It's not overheating. It's staying at temp. It's just, I mean, it came up a couple of degrees, but I got no coolant flow in the upper radiators. And it's not like it's overheating. I mean, everything still looks good. It's just thermostat seems to not be opening. So I got hot heat and everything. I don't know. I'm gonna grab a thermostat tomorrow and we'll throw it in and see what happens. But I'm going to bed.
The next day.
Okay, it is now Saturday. I am struggling very much so, very slow this morning. We do a bike ride and we script out Ohio like the Ohio State Band does. They have it mapped out on back roads. 34 miles and just over 2 hours. We averaged over 15 miles an hour. Now my cousins who I rode with, you know, they got $3,000 a piece bikes, you know, road bikes, aluminum, you know, the whole deal. Devin, on the other hand, has a $150 Walmart mountain bike with Amazon road tires. So my butt hurts very, very badly. On the car side of things, I did not get a thermostat yet. I was doing some research because actually these actually run a little warmer than most cars, I guess. So the temp on the gauge got up to 210 degrees and I shut it off. That's actually normal. So I found out that the thermostat opens at 203 and it's normal for these engines to run about 210, you know, 215, especially when it's warm out. So I'm gonna fire it back up and see if I can get that air bubble worked out. I believe it's probably an air bubble, I hope, because you know, it never overheated. It scared me a little bit because the temp got up at, you know, 210 degrees. So currently the temp is about 140 and the upper radiator hose does have coolant in it. It does have water. You can squish it and you can feel water moving back and forth, and you can see in the overflow it's moving up and down. So I'm gonna let it warm up, get up the temp. The heat is hot, so get it up the temp and see if that thermostat will open, allow, you know, stuff to circulate. So she has been running for over a half hour and it's been running for at least minimum 20 minutes at temperature. And I would say probably 15 of those 20 minutes, probably more, I was in the inside, had it held about 1400 RPM and everything seems to be all right. It got up to about 210 degrees-ish, 212-ish, and then came right back down. It hovered around 205, which is good. That's about perfect where it should be. must have had a big bubble in it right there at the thermostat, because everything is opening. The out that is hot. The upper radiator hose is nice and hot now. So I think we're good. Like I said, it's been running for over a half hour, no overheating issues, and it's quiet. Like there's no in the overflow like there was before. No Old Faithful coming out of the overflow. Probably take it for a very small test drive. I don't really like to test drive vehicles too far, just in case, and I don't know the condition of the vehicle. So we're gonna do all the basic maintenance real quick and then take it for a quick spin. All right, we are officially on the ground. Got coolant in it, oil's changed, topped off all the tires. Shop is a mess. I just kind of moved everything out of the way. But, focus. We are about to go for a little test drive. The tags are expired, so I don't want to go too far. But we're gonna at least take it down the road a mile or two and make sure everything's good. So, let's go. All right, we're out idling. I'm gonna let it completely warm up. It's about 180 right now. I'm gonna get it up to about 200 before we take off. And then we'll see what she does. All right, just made about an 8-mile round trip. Went down to the parents' house and back and did a visual at their house. Everything still looks good, no leaks. On the way back, it did not climb above 194. So about 195. I think it hit 200 on the way down, but it's about 75 degrees out. Didn't get above 200. So I think we're okay, boys. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get all the paperwork finished up, call him, see if he wants to come get it. All right, just got the invoice done. Took it for another quick drive, just basically a mile or two and back. Just do another heat cycle. Everything was good, staying about 198 going down the road. I told him that he could come get it anytime, so I think we're gonna set up a time for tomorrow. So with that said, this video is done. Really appreciate the love and support we get on the channel. I don't really know what the next video is going to be after this one, because I am swamped in the shop. And guess what I get to do right after I get done hitting the stop button on this video is I'm going to clean my tools up, load up, and go pull a transmission out of a 2013 Volvo. So we get to pull my dad's I-shift transmission back out because it's having more problems. So with that said, I'm going to go get some lunch and go pull a tranny out. So appreciate it. Thank you. See you next time.